Hello everyone, my name is Hector Mendoza. I'm gonna talk a little bit about variables in Xactimate. I had a friend call me and he wanted me to explain a little bit about variables and how they work. So at the bottom of the screen, you're gonna be able to see a link, and it's gonna be a link to my uh, Dropbox. And inside there, you're gonna see this PDF. So you'll get a copy. So here's some variables for your deck, fence, your levels, your railing walls, reference areas, reference blocks, uh, roof, and roof walls. Now, once you get into Xactimate, as long as I've been, you don't need nothing like this. You probably won't even need it after you look at this video. But just in case, you might want to study this and this is how I learned by looking at this PDF. So now let me explain where all these variables come in. Okay, so all your rooms, roofs, anything that you draw is going to have a variable. And in some cases, it's going to have several variables. So if I double click in this room, it gives me my properties, right? Now, you see all these variables here. You see how they're abbreviated here? And let's say that you didn't know the abbreviations. If you click all variables, it's going to give you another box and it's going to give you the abbreviations and it's going to tell you what the abbreviations are. Okay, so that's one way just by double clicking on the room. Also, if you click on a room and you hit Control Enter, it's the same thing. If you click on a room and you click on this property icon, there's three ways to doing it. A lot of times it's just easier to just double click. Or I do a lot of, I click and I just hit uh, Control Enter because sometimes it's hard to double click on something that's real small. Like for instance, let's go into uh, let's see if I have my level 3 cert, one of my level 3. I don't. So let's go here and type, oh, here it is right here. Yeah. So if I go to sketch, you know, you know, and let's say I wanted the variables to this. It's hard to double click and get it. This time I did, but let's say you have it selected. A lot of times it's just easier to hit Control Enter, and you know uh, it gives you your properties. Okay, so because that's a staircase is going to give you a bunch of variables. So let's say that you wanted to see all the variables of everything you see in this level, right? If I right click and go to properties, and then I click right here where it says variables, then I can grab this window and see all the variables for this whole level, the main level. Like for instance, let's say you wanted to know all the ceiling square foot. You just click on ceiling. Another way, let's say that it's hard for you to look through this. Let's say that you wanted to see what the ceiling is. You see right here, this is a little search engine. If you type CEILING, anything with the word ceiling, it selected it for me, right? Now, there's your ceiling and there's your wall ceilings. And uh, if there, you see how this says ceiling zero? Zero means the um, your main one. Okay, so if you had, like, let's say a closet and it was a sub room of it, you'd have C0 for your main and you'd have a C1 for the closet. And let's say you had a bathroom attached to it, then that one probably be C2. So now let's say you wanted to know what all the flooring is. You just type FLOOR. You know, look, boom, there's all your floor area. So uh, you don't have to be looking through all this. You know, once you know, like let's say I want my perimeter floor, I just put PF. Oh, well, I guess I got perimeter floor. So it would be PF. Let me see. Oh yeah, total perimeter. You know, so you just type TOTAL. You're gonna get all your totals, and then you would say, let's say perimeter uh, floor. You see, or that's flashing perimeter. Here, let's do it this way. Let's go FLOOR. That's your floor area. So, um, so you could select whatever you want. If this was a roof, you could just type HIP, and it would give you the hip. Let me see if I have. Okay, so let's go to. I don't have a roof there. No, so let's go in here, and let's type. I think I have a steep roof. STEEP. See, steep roof. Okay, so if you go to your sketch, and here's a bunch of variables. So let's say that I wanted to estimate. Control E for estimate. Oh, hit the wrong command. Control E. It went to my estimate, right? So you see right here. So here's my shingles. Now here, these are all the facets that are 712 to 912. Here is all my facets that are from 10 to 12, steep, right? And the way that I did those calculations is by using these formulas here. This, oops, you know, FS, F1SQ plus F2SQ. That's how I did these calculations. And I've created something to make it real easy to separate uh, all your facets. You see how many facets there are? Well, to try to separate them by square footage, steepness is kind of hard. But I do have a video out there you need to watch because you're going to run across this a lot where you're going to have to separate your steep roofs. And I have uh, a video that shows you exactly how to do that. So, but I just wanted to show you. So let me delete this thing here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to my properties. Okay, go to variables, and here, let's say that you want to see how much drip edge you have. You just type DRIP. Okay, so I think it's called something else. Let me see. There you go. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's not going to be drip edge because that's what you're going to put in there. It's the total eve length and the rake. You add those two, and that's how much linear feet you would need for your drip edge. Um, but you would actually put on your calculations, you estimate, you would put DRY and then DRIP, excuse me, RFG, DRIP, and you would put EAVE plus RAKE, and it'll give you those two numbers. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So um, EAVE and RAKE. Okay, so let's say that you wanted to put your drip edge. You go to your estimate, go to your estimate, and let's click on, you have to select a roof, okay? So you put uh, RFG for roofing and DRIP for drip edge, right? On your calculations, you would put EAVE plus RAKE. You see 410.92 linear feet. And that's how you would do that. You could do the same thing with your valleys, you know. So if you put RFG, VAL for uh, metal metal valleys, MTLV valley metal, right? That's the W, but still, you see how I gave you the calculations? Uh, VAL, that's the calculations, and it automatically puts the uh, valley metal for you. So those are some of your variables for your roof. Here, I won't need that no more. Okay, so, and let's go back to this one. Okay, so let me show you how this stuff works. There's a lot of ways of painting or putting texture or whatever you want to do to a wall. I'm going to show you a couple of ways. I could go in here and I could put, let's say DRY 1/2 for drywall float ready to paint, right? Now, if I click right here, just a few little, not even an inch away from this wall, you see how it turns green? If I click here, that one turns green, and so on, right? Now, if I click here, it'll select all the walls. So look, I'm gonna click there, escape. Now, look what it did. It gave me 494.67 because it selected all those walls. Okay, so let's delete this and let's do the same thing. We'll hit DRY 1/2. This time I only want that wall. You see how it's green? Click there, hit escape. Look right here. So what's 12 times 8? 96, right? Okay, so I selected that wall and it automatically gave me the SW2SF, and it knew that it was going to do the whole square footage of the wall. So let me show you something. See, if I go in here, you see how that bottom of the wall turns blue? If I double click on that, it's going to give me the properties. It's going to tell me that this wall is called SW2. Now, if I come to this wall, this one is SW1. So this is SW1, SW2, SW3, and then this one here is SW, not SW, WS4. Okay, so so you can go in here and right here I put WS2, right? I could go in here and add, let's say I wanted also the left wall. I could go and tell it WS1 and then put .SF and hit the plus sign. Now it multiplied it by 2 because it selected this wall and this wall. So that's one way of doing things, okay? And to show you how these variables are affected by if you have a door and windows, let me show you. So remember, right now we got 192 square feet of walls. I'm going to hit my D. I'm going to create a big old door so that you can see the difference. Remember, it was not 190 something, right? So now put that door, now look at it. It's 140.67. I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, 140. So I'm going to hit D and I put a big old door here on this wall. Now look at it, 94. But that's because in my preferences, I have told Xactimate every time it creates a door, I need for it to deduct the that from the wall. That's why it automatically deducted it. Okay, so now remember, right now I got 94, right? If I delete this door, oops, I almost hit the wrong button. Now it's 145. If I delete this wall, remember 145, delete it. Now I'm back to 192. Okay, that's one way to doing this. A second way, let me put those doors back. A second way that you can put painting or drywall, whatever you want to a wall is going, okay, first go to 3 for 3D. And then somewhere in here, it tells you what 3D is. I think it's this one right here. Okay. But I use commands, so it's kind of hard for me to look at pull downs. Okay, so now watch this. DRY 1/2. If I click here, now look, I'm going to select that wall and select this wall, and I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go to my 1D by hitting the 1, click in this room. Wow, it didn't do it. Okay, hit 3D. Let's see what happened. Okay, DRY 1/2. Click here. Okay, there's one of the walls. Click there. There's the other one. Hit escape. I think I know what happened. I think I hit the delete delete button earlier. Okay, so now same thing. See, 94, right? So if I click here, let's say we deleted that wall, hit delete. Now look, instead of 94, we got 145. So that's why those variables are so good, is that, when you're out there, a lot of these carriers don't want, oh no, they want you to subtract this wall from your painting, because you're going to paint this, not this and that. If you have, now sometimes you might have to replace this. If this is damaged, you might have to replace it and paint it, but you want to do it separately, because now you're talking two different kinds of paint. This is a flat paint, this is glossy paint, so it's going to be treated differently. Same thing here. You would be selecting this area to paint, not the door. So one thing I want to caution y'all, this is crazy, but um, when you're getting out there and you're working with floods, you're going to have um, floods up to 2 feet or 4 feet, sometimes just 4 inches, and you have to uh, estimate accordingly. So watch what I'm going to show you, and this is crazy because either my Xactimate doesn't work right, or they haven't fixed this in Xactimate. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Remember, when I put a door, it subtracted the the calculations from the door from the calculations. Now I'm going to hit W for window, and I'm going to exaggerate a lot. So I'm going to hit a big old window, W, and put a big old window there, put a big old window there. Now I'm going to go back, I'm going to go to 3D, okay? And we're going to do the same thing. If I put DRY 1/2 for 1/2 drywall, and I tell it to replace the drywall there and replace the drywall there, hit escape, go back to 1D, click on my room, Okay, so um, we have 125 square feet. And if I click on this wall, oh no, oh good, it worked. It worked. Earlier it wasn't working. So now we have 158.67, and you delete here and it removes it. But now there's some 'cause I now remember what it was. Okay, so there are some calculations that won't work. And let me show you what these calculations. They're good for putting X amount of, let's say, 2 feet tall and 4 feet tall. It will remove the doors, but it will not remove the windows. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to use those same calculations like WS1 and the WS2, right? But instead of square feet, I'm going to tell it perimeter floor times 2. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to put perimeter 4 times 2 equals. Now, the calculations work because we got 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 2 is 24. That's 48 square feet, right? Boom, 48 square feet. Now, so with those parameters, those I told it this time to go by the parameter PF of that one wall. Now, if I put a door here, remember, look, we got 48 square feet, right? Because we're only going up 2 feet into this wall. So now I want to put a big old door here. Remember, 48. And if I put a big door, look what happens. Now I only got 30.5. Same thing here. Put a big old door. Now that 30.5 goes to 13. Okay, so we know that by putting a door that it removes it from the calculations. Okay, so now let's take out a window. This is where it's not going to work. So if I hit a W, put a big, okay, remember we got 48. So I'll put a big old window there. Didn't do nothing here. Okay, so put a big old window here and it didn't remove nothing. It's still 48. Now you could argue and say, okay, yeah, but we're only going 2 feet up and the window is 2 feet high. So let me explain what I'm look. So basically the window right now is 3 feet up from the floor. So all we're doing is removing 2 feet. So that window where it sits, it wouldn't be removing nothing because the what we're replacing is not higher than 3 feet. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. So technically, if I select both of these windows and change where the base height is, I'm just going to say 1 feet. I'm going to hit 1 feet, enter. Now, technically, that's 1 feet from the bottom plus the width of the window, which one of them is 8.9 and one is 8.7. So I should have at least 17 uh, square feet being removed from that wall, but it's not. Okay, because I lowered the now I lowered the window, and the floor. I'm going up this far, so this area should be removed. But for some reason, when you're using that calculation, it doesn't work. But there's a way to get around it. Because if you're trying to be perfect accurately, well, I mean, I'm real anal when I'm out there in the field. One way to get over uh, how to remove this, if you went in and changed the base height of that window, here, let's click here, here, and right now it's the base height. Remember, 48 right here, 48, right? I'm going to change this to a 0. And I'm going to hit enter. Look at that 48. Boom. Now it removed that part of the window. So, I mean, that's one way of getting around it, right? Another way, another way, because the problem I have with that one scenario is that it really doesn't matter what size of window you put, it's going to remove everything up the width till the top of where you're telling it. Like for instance, the 2 linear feet. Okay, so now watch this. I'm going to turn this windows. I'm going to keep it at the bottom, right? Remember, we got 133 point. Oh, we got 13.33. Let me see. Excuse me. Got 13.33 square feet. Watch. I'm going to click here. This window, I'm going to just tell it I want it 1 foot high. And that number should change. The 13.33. Look, I hit 1 and it didn't change. So if you look right in here, I made a real tiny window. We're actually removing this much of the drywall, but what it did, it removed all of this from here all the way to the top. Okay, and I have a solution for that. There's a solution for everything. Now, the way to get over this is like this. Watch this. Once you've been in the field for a long time, you'll understand all this. I guess y'all know that I teach level 1, level 2, level 3, and beyond those certifications. Because what you're learning here, you're not going to learn in your level 1, level 2, and level 3. This is from my experience using Xactimate for all these years. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to trick the machine. Because it doesn't matter if you put a door, or a window. It doesn't matter. All it's doing is removing square footage from the areas that you want. So right now we got 48 square feet, right? Because remember, we're only going up 2 feet. So this should work. If I go in here and I hit D for door, and so what I do so that I don't confuse the examiners, either I'm going to use that. You don't want to use a like a standard door, because then they're going to say, oh, that should be a door, right? So if you use a sliding door, they might not catch that's a sliding door, because a sliding window almost looks just like that. So now if I click here and I tell this one base height for 0, and I tell that 1 foot. Okay, now watch this. I got 29.17, right? So we got 29.17. Now if I change that door, instead of 1 feet, this time I want it 2 feet. Hit to enter. Now, yeah, it didn't change it, so it still don't matter. Um, give me a second here. Let me look at something. So the height to 0, yeah, it didn't make a difference. I'm gonna change it to a half a feet, 0.5, and see, yeah, 6 inches, and nope, it didn't change. So so all it does is just takes the from left to right away from those walls. But that's the way the program does it. There's nothing we can do about it. I've never had any claim come back and then they tell me, hey man, you know what? That door is only 32 square feet, and you should have only removed half that door, which is, like 18 square feet. I've never had that. That's one of the limitations Xactimate has. I hope I didn't confuse you all, but there's a lot more to this than this. This is just the basics of uh, your variables. I hope you like this. Thank you for watching my video.